Welcome back to the Means Report. Glad you are staying with us, and thanks again to Jeff Fairman for that financial advice. Most helpful as always. Love the football theme, and we'll hear from Jeff plenty as this year and next year move on. You'll want to stay tuned for his advice when it comes to your money. And now, your health is in focus. You know, we have been talking about Breast Cancer Awareness Month here on the Means Report throughout the month of October. I personally have emceed at least 2 events having to deal with it, and it is just at the forefront, as well it should be. And we want to continue to promote women's health, women's well-being. And so to do that, we've brought in, let's see, speaker, singer, author. Chances are, if you've been somewhere in the CSRA at some point over the past few years, you've heard her or seen her. She's on blue collar radio now, on satellite radio, she just told me, so you can really never have a moment without Jane Jenkins Herlong. And she's here to talk about her new book called What Ta-Tas Teach Us. I can say that because you wrote it. This is the book. I'm not being bad. What Ta-Tas Teach Us. Jane, I'm glad you're here. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Well, it's our pleasure, and I can't wait to hear about this book. But first of all, the reason you wrote it, a sad reason, I think, but I'm glad that this will serve as a tribute. Tell me about it.
Well, my sister had a double mastectomy several years ago, and she survived it. But she did not take care of the total woman, and she tragically, they pretty much found her dead from a heart-related issue, that hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. So as women, we have to take care of so much, and the heart should not be ignored. And of course, this month is our focus is on breast cancer awareness and mammograms, and have a college roommate that skipped one, and we buried her last May. It's very sad. You
know, it's interesting how throughout your book you can take things that are related to a woman's health, a woman's breast health, breast cancer, and tie it back to how it has an overall life application. You look at something that goes along with breast cancer, like courage, the need to face this disease. Well, of course, that's not just an attribute that applies to breast cancer. You teach us, very succinctly, I should say, throughout each of these lessons, how important courage is. Just talk about that.
Well, a lot of women fear the mammogram.
Yeah.
A lot of women don't want to go to the gynecologist. I mean, I've got a calendar loaded with appointments because I'm like you. I believe it's important to take care of our health. And you have to have courage. You have to have courage to face the phone call, the letter. Thank goodness I got a good letter. Yeah, and you rejoice with that. But there's some women, they have to go to the next level and they don't want to know. That's the problem. I just don't want to know. Well, you know, breast cancer and colon cancer are the easiest cancers to cure if you catch it right.
Yeah, but sometimes there's just that belief that if you ignore it, it'll go away. That's just not true.
No.
What about support? That's another attribute that's mentioned that women have or need to have. Sure, it ties into breast cancer, but support in a woman's life is huge.
Well, you know, the analogy I use is the bra. We always try to find the perfect bra. We're on the hunt for the perfect bra. And we want good support. And just like that garment is important, women and men in our lives, and friends and family and faith, and we do need people just to help us through these times and just say, we're going to get through this and we're going to help you. We're going to take you to your appointments. If you do get the news that you do have something that needs to be removed or cancer treatment, it is so vitally important.
What do you think the reasons are sometimes that women neglect their own health, that women put themselves last? Is it, as you mentioned a moment ago, the fact that they're spread too thin?
We wear a million hats.
Yeah.
In fact, I wrote a book called Bare Feet to High Heels and the Flip-Flops in Between. I mean, we wear motherhood shoes. I mean, I did the whole deal. My children are in college now. Clemson, by the way, y'all talking about Georgia.
Not bad. Yeah. No, give
know,
Clemson a plug.
Alabama.
I'm with you. I'm feeling you.
Yeah. But we do put ourselves last. I mean, we're the last to go to bed, the first to get up. We're like the Proverbs 31 woman. You know, we rise early, and we want everything to be great. But we do neglect ourselves.
What would you say to moms and dads who are raising young daughters? Is there any way that we can, I don't want to say break the cycle because we love the women in our lives and we love that they do take care of us, but is there anything that can be taught to a child early on to put herself first sometimes?
Well, as a mother, you've got to teach your daughter all about being a woman, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And you've got to set the pattern. I mean, my daughter is very proactive with her health. And it's because I was. So it's always leadership by example.
What about beauty? It's another quality mentioned in your book. How do you, and you can even stay in the parenting theme here, instill in a young lady that she's beautiful and that she has that self-image growing up?
That is something I'm very passionate about because I was in the Miss America pageant several years ago. But it does talk about that inner beauty, and a lot of people, that's what's going to maintain itself through your life. I mean, you know, I don't look like I did when I wore the crown. I'm certainly aged.
Amazing.
Well, you're very sweet,
yes,
but
ma'am.
I mean, I try to keep it up. You know, I try to take care of me and take care of everybody else too. But I've taught my daughter to go deeper and look within herself, and she is a beautiful child. I'm so proud to say, and that means so much more to me than the outward, and it's very trite, I know that. You know, a lot of people, oh, you know, the inner beauty. But that's huge. You have to nurture the inner beauty and take care of people, take care of yourself, be proactive, love people, get along with people. She calls me all the time, Mama, let me tell you what happened at school. What do I do? So, you know, it's just a total woman aspect.
What about somebody watching right now who's not a child, who's older and who feels like they may be too far gone to have the kind of inner beauty or the kind of self-esteem that you're talking about? How do they get started? Is it all about reaching out? Is it about relationships? If a lady is tuning in right now, what do they do to make their lives better?
Well, it's the principle you mentioned. I think it's the 10th or the 13th principle in the book. It's courage. You got to have courage. We almost grow out of those dreams that are instilled in us as children.
Yeah.
What is that one thing that you've always wanted to do? You can go back to that. It is absolutely never too late. Never, ever, ever. I mean, my tennis teacher in college was 92.
92?
92, Miss Olivia Godbold. I went to Columbia College, but
she could hit a tennis ball?
I asked her to hit with me. That's the only way you could get a B.
Wow.
And it was like a missile coming by my head.
Dang.
It was scary.
Well, that's good, though.
But I mean, I keep thinking, I did that. But once you build your confidence to go to that level, it will take you to the next. And you'll put one foot in front of the other. I never thought I'd be an author. Never thought I'd be on blue collar. Never thought I'd be traveling doing what I'm doing. But I took that first step. And then all of a sudden, people say, oh, I loved it. That just really blessed me. So then you take the next step. And then you start to take bigger steps.
I think one of the most reassuring things for a man or a woman is to find out that whatever you're facing in life, privately, personally, you're usually not alone. Do you get that sense from the audiences that you appear before that, oh man, she's talking about something that hits home. I've got that too. I'm dealing with that too. Tell me what you've seen out there on stage.
All the time. You would not believe the women and men that come up to me and say, thank you so much for saying that. That's exactly what I'm dealing with. I mean, I was talking to a friend of mine who's suffering from this adrenal stress syndrome. The initials are hilarious when you think about it, but how women get so stressed out that it messes with our hormones. And when you start, I mentioned that, I was speaking in Myrtle Beach yesterday, day before, and I mentioned that. I had people come up to me and say, what's the name of that again? I believe I've got to look into that. And women need women, and they need to, women share so much, thank God.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we have to have good men in our lives, too.
Well, I was going to ask you.
My husband's a wonderful man.
Well, we mentioned family a minute ago, and I mean, they need to step up too. How do you reach out to your family and say, I need help? Is it just having going back to courage, the courage to say, I need you to help share this load? Is that a good first step as well?
Oh, it is. Oh, it is. I mean, we've just had a little thing with a horse in our pasture that I've been so upset about, but it's getting better. But I call my children. I said, y'all need to pray about this, or I'm upset, or that's really what women need to be verbal to the people that they love the most. And it seems like a lot of times we try to be, well, I can't do that. I've got to be the strong person, and I've got to hold it together. Well, no. If you have a problem, go talk to somebody. If you have to go to a therapist, there's no harm in that. When my mother died, we were very close. I went to a grief counselor. That helped me so much. I had to take care of this. Why settle for good when you can be great?
Do you think peer pressure plays a role in a woman's life and in her decision making, even when she gets older? Sure, we see it in our kids. We see the need to fit in and belong. Does that last a lifetime too? Oh, yes. And we do fight that battle. We all want to fit in and be quote unquote normal. Yeah. But of course, the only way place normal is on a dryer, the setting. Yes, that's an old saying, but it's very true. How do you take that first step, though? How do you break away and say, you know what, I'm going to do my own thing, whether I'm accepted or not, because this is just too stressful to try to keep up? Well, it has to just get that bad. Yeah.
where you say, you know what, this is ridiculous. I cannot, I wake up, I'm burdened, I go to bed, I'm burdened, I'm unhappy. That's not the way we're supposed to live at all. So you just break the cycle. But it has to, a lot of times people have to go through a lot of trials to get to that point of saying enough. I'm going to take care of me, I'm going to go see people, I'm going to talk to people, I'm going to go to my doctor, I'm going to take care of my health. Because if I don't pull it together personally, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, I'm going to damage this next generation, and let's just say goodbye to dysfunction.
No, it's true.
Just get it out of the way. The dysfunction stops right with me. And you pay a price for that. I've had to do that. I'm not going there, but I stopped it. And now I have a wonderful family, children, but I'm not going to let that cycle perpetuate itself in my life.
What made you start doing this? What made you write books and go public? Where does your motivation come from?
From my faith. I'm a Christian, and I'm proud to say that's what I follow every day of my life. And I read and I study, and I believe in the power of prayer. And when I overcame all the stereotypes of growing up on a farm, my daddy dropped out of school in the 10th grade, we lived in a tenant house, my IQ was low, I failed the SATs, the scores were very low, I just kept trying. And I overcame that until I was dyslexic. I didn't get accepted at Clemson, the place I wanted to go. But what you do is you just don't give up. That sheer human drive. I finally told the guy at Columbia College, I said, you don't know what's inside of me. Give me a chance. And that just sort of sparked everything.
So you think God put you where you are today?
I give him credit, I do. Because I certainly couldn't do this on my own, not at all.
Well, I think your life is amazing, and I think what you're doing is even better. I mean, you're leaving the world a better place with what you do, and I really appreciate that. It's got to be, at the end of the day, Jane, pretty good. I know you don't do this for yourself. A lot of it is for others, and it sure is rewarding to see them benefit. But you've got to feel great at the end of the day sometimes. When
one person walks up to me and hugs me with tears in their eyes, and I'm a humorist. I mean, that's what I do. I tell funny, true Southern stories. And they say, thank you. I had a couple come up to me and say, we rocked our grandbaby till it died, just born, and this is the first time we've laughed. Now that's a blessing to me.
It's a huge blessing indeed, and I just can't thank you enough for what you do. For the book, What Ta-Tas Teach Us, I hope that you'll pick it up. We're going to give you Jane's website here in a moment. There it is, janeherlong.com. You can get more information, and I know that's a great way to get a hold of the book as well.
Thank you for caring about women and women's health. This station and you all have been great, and Jenny, the whole crew is just awesome.
I'll tell you what, Jane, my wife suddenly left town on Monday, and this has been a week about appreciating women because they are the glue. And what an impossible week it has been without her. I don't know how you raised children. We can do a whole another show on that.
True.
But the raising of the children is impossible.
Well, bless your heart, darling.
There
you go. God love you, because that is a job.
It is tough indeed. Jane, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Great lessons from the heart of Edgefield County to right here in little old West Augusta on this Sunday. When we come back, it's time for our question of the week. We want to know what you're thinking and what issues of the day mean to you. Also, we'll tell you how you can get a hold of past episodes of the Means Report and follow us via the social networks. We'll be right back.